While there are many ways to look for a person of interest, my methods primarily revolve around my pen testing skills and my technical expertise. So get ready for a roller coaster ride of useful information as I show you the next level of open source intelligence. What I won't be talking about today is everything that OSINT consists of, all the basics like Google, dorking, people search websites, there are hundreds of those, image metadata analysis, all the hundreds or thousands of breached databases, social media accounts. There's an entire field on OSINT just on digging deep into social media. There's plenty of government records you can look through, especially in the US. And I won't be touching on the dark web either. A lot of things I won't be touching on. But what I will be talking about is some of the skill sets that I bring to this field of OSINT. To understand better where these skill sets come from, it's good to know a little bit about my background. I come from a very hardcore network design background, doing routing switching, a lot of coding. I transitioned into an ethical hacker, being a pen tester, started doing things a little bit more legally, doing a lot of social engineering, whether phishing, vishing, or in person. Today I consult for organizations, small and large, as a virtual chief information security officer. I also advise on privacy as I do OSINT investigations to find people and to catch the bad guys. Some of the things that my family members, when they don't understand the technical side of this, the column on the right is how I explain it to them. I'm the good guy. Before I start, I just want to throw this out there that everything we do as OSINT professionals revolves around covering your tracks. So OPSEC or operational security is absolutely important. Everything you see on the list here, we need to practice. Without these in place, we can't start our investigations. We need to protect ourselves before we inadvertently expose our footprints. A lot of these things, for the purposes of today's demo, I may not be using, so don't judge me. But in the real life scenario, I will pay special attention to these. So enough of slides. Let's get started. So in order to start an investigation, you need some seed info. In my case, the seed info, let's look at a hypothetical scenario and an actual scenario. The only information we have is there's a Tesla parked in the parking lot of a university, Northwestern University. Who owns it? That's all the information we have. We don't have a name, a phone number, anything. How do you go about starting your investigation is if all you know is a type of vehicle and the university it's parked in. So let's say it's parked in the faculty parking area. So thinking outside the box is big, and knowing where to find information. I know that there's a data breach called the Park Mobile data breach, and there is some data in it around email addresses and vehicles. So let's look that up first. So I do rip grep, a faster way of doing grep. So I'm going to search through this file that I have, the Park Mobile data breach, which is almost 5 gigabytes. And I'm going to search for everything that has @Northwestern edu in it and the Park Mobile data breach, and let's see what it finds. It found a lot of email addresses associated with that university and a lot of details. Let's narrow it down a little bit more. Let me cancel the search. This shows you how many people use their corporate email IDs for an app that helps you park your car. But let's tack on the word Tesla next to it, so it searches for both in conjunction. I got exactly one hit. I got an email address in this DRK, and I know that this person has a Tesla, and I got a bunch of license plate numbers, probably 10, 15 of these. So let's see which one is his or hers. So now I have an email address. Let's take this further and simply Google it. When you Google this email address, it tells you the person's full name. Click through, click on that link, and I've preloaded some of these tabs because sometimes they'll fail or may not load right on my VPN. So for the sake of demo, let's go to the next tab here. So when you click on that first link, I already now know enough information about this through people search websites. I have a phone number. I know he's a doctor. There's a website here. It says MD on his title, so he's likely a doctor, and an address here. Again, now that I know some information, I will dig deeper. I know he's a doctor, so there's a nationwide database for their license. I simply searched his name on this database, so I'll go here. Let me go back a little. I pre-populated this. So NPI records are doctor's records all in the US. I could do it this way, or the conventional way I did this was go on my health insurance website and search for doctors. It gives you a little bit more information around it. So similar information I get. So at least I'm verifying now that this is an official record. It's not some people search website that can be manipulated or disinformation can be spread. This is an actual healthcare record for this person. The address here is different. It has a suite next to it. So this is a clinic's address and probably an office phone number, but at least I know the person's full 3 names, middle initial, and he's legit. So I take the other address I had here, the 751. This is likely his home address. And I put it in Google Street View. This is that address, not a lot of information, but remember I was looking for that car. Does he own this car or not? Or at least am I lucky enough to see it parked on the street? Not in this view, but what you can do is go back in history on Google Street View, and let's look at a 2018 view of the same thing. Almost immediately I spot the Tesla here in the center, and I zoom into it. I can tell it's a Florida license plate. Again, this is information that is geo-specific, geography-specific. So someone not in the US may not recognize it instantly. They may need to do a little bit more research, but I can kind of see the orange in the center. That's a Florida plate. And I can see the last 2 numbers. Google didn't do a great job in masking that out. It says 67. Let's go back to this data breach here, and there is a 67 right here in the license plate, DJYF67. Let's take this plate now and run it through another OSINT tool, which is this database of vehicles. So you put in a plate here, so that was this plate number. You look for the state, this is vehiclehistory.com, and you hit search, and if you get lucky, you find it. So I found that exact Tesla. I found the VIN number, and I can take the VIN number further. I also found it had 53,000 miles, was sold for $45,000 in 2020. So some vehicle history. The plate is the same, but if I keep going further into the pictures, I actually see a map here, and the map shows Florida in it. So some of my information is now correlating. And also on the top bar, you see the profile username, DRK or Dr. K, and that is our person of interest. So very quickly, I got a lot of information on this person just through an alternate means of searching. I can also then go to a site like weigel.net, and under the Bluetooth section, search for maybe the car Bluetooth beacon that it's sending out. In this case, let me just make up a name, Tesla Model S Jarvis. Let's query this. So any device with a Bluetooth name of this within this map search that I have here is going to show up and basically tell me where it was spotted. So all these Bluetooth beacons were spotted all over the US. If you know the exact one of the person, you can actually pinpoint where they've been or where they are based on the date over here. So another way besides just Wi-Fi searching, you can also search for Bluetooth. Again, this is crowdsourced data, so may not be accurate. But continuing on with this, you can always look at people search websites like advanced background checks and try to look for a date of birth. It shows me, how old this person is, but says for privacy reasons we don't reveal full date of birth, which is fine. Let's keep moving on. Fast people search, same person. Scroll down and it'll actually show you September 1942. So it gave me 2 out of the 3 variables. And this is interesting because if my goal is to get the full date of birth of a person, there are other ways. I know enough information about a person. One other piece that I would use are government records to verify information. So let's say a voter record, like the Massachusetts website for voter registration. I can look up people by their first name, last name, full date of birth, and a zip code. If I have all of these things, it'll give me more information, who they voted for and stuff like that, and an address. So all of this is confirmed and verified information, and that's very important when you're doing OSINT. You can't trust the information that you're presented with. You have to verify it. So in this case, let's pick another target. I don't want to dox the same person. So let's pick this person here. So William Francis Galvin. If I put in his name here, I don't know his date of birth, but guess what? He's a popular person, likely. Google his name. His full date of birth shows up, September 17th. His zip code is the next thing we need. A people search website will show it's 02135. So I have everything I need about him, but let's say I didn't. This is where I fire up my hacking tools like Burp Suite. And within Burp Suite, I open up that same page and I enter the information here and I enter the zip code here. What was it? 02135, 02135, and I hit search here, and intercept is off, and let me turn on intercept. So it's going to intercept this request. So it didn't really search yet, it paused here. So I have this request here now. I'm going to modify some of the things here to search for the missing items. Let's say I didn't know the date of birth. So let's send this to intruder. I go in intruder and I mark some positions that I need to know. So let's say, I did not know the day of birth. Let's clear all these things here. Let's go back. And so the day of birth here is 17. Let's put a variable around this number. Let's say I didn't know it was 17. I was just guessing. So I have 30 tries to get this right, or I could automate the process using Burp Suite. Now under payloads, I would go and say, let's cycle through all the numbers from 1 to 30, and in steps of 1, and decimal numbers, minimum integer digits 1, maximum 2, and fractions 0, 0. It gives you an example here what the output would look like, and I can start my attack. So before I do that, let's go under options. You can run a grep match, and I'm doing this fast because I've done this quite a few times, and I want to match for everything that says not found, because when I do find something, it will stand out. So now I have everything. Let's run this attack. So it's basically going to run through all the different iterations. It's going to submit the form with different values of day. And as it does this, it shows me the length of the packet, and I'm looking for an anomaly. I'm looking for something that stands out. If I click on any one of these, it shows me what it submitted. Let me render the form here, and it'll show me what the form looked like. So since it was an incorrect entry, it said voter registration information not found, and that's what I'm searching for. This item right here with the checkbox was actually found, and it has a different length, a byte length here versus the rest. The rest are very close to each other. This one is kind of the odd one out. And when I rendered this, it says, yes, voter registration status was basically found, and it gives me this person's full date of birth. So in case I didn't know it, it's going to try 30 attempts. And if I didn't know other variables, I would put those in as well, and it would increase the number of events. But I can use a tool like this just to automate the process and verify this information. Now I know, since a government record exists of this information, this is 100% verified. So I not only do I know the full date of birth, but another missing piece of information was the address that's now there. A lot of people, write their true addresses on voting forms, whereas on social media websites they'll try to hide it or spread some disinformation. But on government records, it's highly likely that this is your actual address. So very quickly, using hacking tools like this, you can dig through OSINT scenarios much faster and actually verify the information that you have. Taking this one step further, now that I have more pieces of information, let's take that email address back that we found initially and then just run it through Have I Been Pwned, just to see are there other data breaches we can check. So it quickly shows me it's part of so many other data breaches. Each breach will have its own unique piece of information, and I can just dig further and further. It shows me the Park Mobile data breach, which I just checked through, had a license plate number in it. Since I know this information exists, I know shortcuts on how to find it fast. But even passwords and stuff, passwords are not what we're looking for. It's all the other information. But if I take the same email address and run it through a password breach or a website like this, breachdirectory.tk, and just put in this email address, I very quickly get redacted passwords of this person. And if I take one of these redacted passwords, it shows me the SHA-1 hash. And as a pen tester, I know, hey, a SHA-1 can be reversed pretty quickly, especially when I know half the characters. So instead of finding the actual password, I'll quickly go back to Kali Linux. I will go to Hashcat, which is right here. So I'll use Hashcat. I'll do a -M100. That's for SHA-1. A3 is a brute force attack. And that's the hash that I got from that website. Now I'll put a mask on it. I know the first 4 digits, but I don't know the remainder of the digits. I'll brute force the remainder of the digits. And I press enter. And usually Hashcat takes a while, but once you know half the variables, let's see how long this actually takes. It took a couple of seconds to actually figure out the password. It cracked it, and the password was right here, Dr. Carlin, so Dr. Carlin. Hopefully he changed his password. I'm pretty sure he did. But that's a very quick way of reversing a hash using Hashcat, and that's the first place I would go to before even digging deeper. Now, a lot of the times passwords will reveal much more than just what was here. They may reveal a second person's name, your dog's name, your spouse's name, or something secret to you. Or you can then take each individual password, that unique password that you got, if it's unique, and then do a reverse search on just passwords to find out other hidden accounts for the person. So that's one other way to do it. But then I would take the phone number and do a reverse carrier search on this. And now I want to verify that this phone number is this person's phone number. So I spoof my name, my caller ID, and I call T-Mobile, and I search what number, T-Mobile's customer care, and I give T-Mobile a call. And when I call them, spoofing this person's number, here's what I hear.
T-Mobile. Hi, Mark. So tell me, how can I help you today?
So T-Mobile confirmed this is that person. Moving forward, more Google searches reveal the same person's name, but that same website, if I look at the archive Wayback Machine, it'll actually show me a middle name, Simeon, right here. So I can get more information this way. I take the same person's name and go to classmates.com. I see a yearbook entry, and I click on the yearbook. Now it's going to show me a paywall, and I can't really click on any of these. But that was page 54, I believe. But it'll actually show me the first page. So first few pages. I can always right click on any of these pages, open image and new URL, and visit that URL and modify the file that's here. This is JPEG file number 2. If I go, was it 54? I get the high resolution image of that same Mark person, and this guy is pretty much the same as the person here. So again, digging deeper. So there's a lot you can do, and I said I wouldn't touch social media, but let's take a quick example of one of the hacking tools in social media. Let's say there's this person, Instagram.com/Mishaal. I want to know more about this person. A lot of the things are masked here, so let's go to a tool called, let me demonstrate two real quick tools for you here. So one of the tools is Tatis. I put in the name Mishaal here, and I put in this random string here. There's entire directions here to how to use this Instagram tool. But when I run this tool, it actually gives me redacted email addresses, one email address and a phone number +44, that's UK, which I did not get from the social media profile itself. So this is using APIs. Same thing, I use another tool by the same person called Holihi, and I enter in an email address, and it actually runs through multiple social media accounts and spits out some information regarding where this account was used. So once this tool is done, it'll actually give me more social media accounts to dig through right here. A lot of these did not show up in regular searches like Garmin and stuff. So now I have more points of interest to go through. Social media will also tell you other stuff. If you go back in time on Twitter, it will give you, location or the person's real name. In this case, the person only had his first name on Twitter. This is not me. This is somebody who got the name before me. But in this scenario, I now know the person's full name because it's on the Wayback Machine. Look at Brian Krebs' account, and it shows you used Twitter for iPad. Dig a little bit deeper using tools like Social Bearing, and it shows you this person, Brian Krebs, uses an iPhone, an iPad, and Twitter for web. So now I know a device that this person has. Very quickly, if you go into LinkedIn and do a search for linkedin.com/in/Jane Doe, you get some information. But if I use an API from People Data Labs, PDI, I can actually put in this profile there and see what they have on her. And now I get a LinkedIn ID, which I could have gotten by right-clicking too. But then I get Facebook profiles, phone numbers, a whole bunch of other stuff here to utilize as well. Free APIs. So very quickly you realize there's a lot of tools at your disposal. It's how you use them, how quickly and how efficient you are at these tools will determine what amount of information you can get out of these. That LinkedIn ID that I found, just to put a little perspective on it, if you just search the LinkedIn data breach with that same ID, you are going to find, let's see what you find. You find a lot of IDs which are similar to this. Let's stop this search and narrow it down a little bit. Let's put a comma next to it and a /B to create a boundary. So that LinkedIn ID, which we got from Jane Doe's account, equates to this one email address. So that's how you use some of the breaches and the tools to kind of real quickly dig deep. Let me take a breather here. There's a lot to talk about there, but let's kind of wrap this up. So here's where we started, and this is where we want to be. We started with a piece of information about a Tesla at a university, and we quickly went into a breach. Breach turned into an email. We found an email address, and then we found all this information that I showed. And things in white here are all the hacking tools that we used. Hashcat to find more details on a password, caller ID spoofing to verify, and most of these things are, by the way, to verify. Like Burp Suite was to verify a date of birth and to find it as well. URL manipulation to bypass some of the paywalls, tools in social media tools like Holihi, Tutati. So I'm probably butchering the names here, but these tools are used to dig deeper into further information. On Facebook, just look for when people started saying happy birthday to the person. That kind of verifies what their day of birth is, at least. But using People Data Labs open APIs to figure out other accounts, using LinkedIn to find member IDs and breaches, types of device used to kind of profile the person better, using Weigel or looking back in time on the archive.org. There's a lot of information you can use just by using some of the tools that weren't really made for people hunting, but you can absolutely use this on top of your OSINT, regular OSINT skill set. Now, where you want to be here eventually is a chart like this, where you start off with a profile, dig deeper into all the different elements, and just keep growing this chart little by little. And that's basically what will provide that larger profile of the person, and then start connecting the different pieces together. It's the connecting the dots that really matters and puts your investigation in front of the rest. So ingredients to success. A lot of the things you saw me do here require planning, a lot of extreme OPSEC, thinking outside the box, knowing what tools exist so that you can dig deeper for that information. But to me, what really defines this success is persistence and perseverance. Keep trying. Eventually, people will make a mistake and they will leave evidence. And perseverance, leave no stone unturned. A quick, simple example I can give you of this is try all the tools at your disposal, useful or useless. Like, here's Michael Basil's tools here. And in one of these search tools, like let's say I was looking for a name, John Doe, I'll populate all. There's all these websites I can look for. Simply clicking on submit all, watch how many tabs open up. I can't even look at this, it's like flashing lights. But all of these tabs are now opening up for me to go through, browse, and check one by one. Did I miss anything? This is called being thorough. Sure, it takes a lot of time, but all I need is one hit. 20 tabs open up. If one of them has the information I'm looking for, that's success. I'll close the rest of it. So you have to spend the time and the resources to go through all of all the tools in your tool set, and then obviously have that positive attitude. And I can almost guarantee you that with a lot of patience, with the perseverance and persistence, if you continue this, you will find your target or your person of interest. Thank you, and have a great rest of the evening.